All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something literally all of us face, but we rarely actually use to our advantage: a rainy summer morning. Look, most of us see the rain hitting the window, we hear that dull thud of water against the glass, and bam, we instantly get that universal urge to just pull the heavy covers right back over our heads. It's like the absolute perfect excuse to succumb to the agony of the snooze button. But what if we completely flipped that script? Today, we're going to unpack a really specific, structured routine that transforms what looks like a gloomy, wet morning into an invigorating physical and mental launchpad for your entire day. Okay, so we've all heard this classic proverb, right? Early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. But let's be honest, that's usually applied to those perfect, sunny days when waking up feels totally effortless and the birds are chirping. The true test of this philosophy, well, it's when the weather just doesn't cooperate. A rainy morning is absolutely not a reason to stay under the covers. It's actually this hidden, high-leverage opportunity. It's a chance to build incredible resilience and kickstart a dynamic fitness routine before the rest of the world is even awake. Honestly, when everyone else is hitting snooze, you are out there building an undeniable edge.
So let's jump right into Rule 1, rise early. We're going to look at the 6 a.m. wake up and the specific mindset you need to make it happen.
Now, picture this scene with me. You're in your cozy bedroom. The clock reads exactly 6 a.m. Outside your window, soft gray clouds fill the sky, and you can hear those gentle raindrops tapping right against the glass. It is a highly atmospheric, completely sleep-inducing environment. Your heavy eyelids are protesting, and your brain immediately starts negotiating. We've all been there, right? That little inner voice is whispering, just 5 more minutes, it's raining, there is no way you can run today. It's actually a real phenomenon known as sleep inertia, and it's compounded by the lack of morning sunlight. But here's the thing. This is the critical moment. This single internal negotiation is where the entire trajectory of your day gets decided.
And here is the ultimate choice. You can stay in bed, surrender to the comfort, and let those gray clouds dictate a sluggish, slow-motion morning where you inevitably end up rushing out the door completely stressed. Or you can jump out of bed. It has to be this active, energetic rejection of the sluggishness that the weather is trying to push on you. The second your feet hit the floor and you stretch out those stiff morning muscles, you break the cycle of sleep inertia. Even on a rainy summer morning, you have to consciously decide to be ready. You're taking control of the environment rather than letting the environment take control of you.
All right, let's step outside. Moving on to our next section. Embrace the morning breeze, stepping into the elements.
So you step outside into the open air, and instantly the strong, cool breeze sweeps across the landscape. You head out to these wide green fields where the wind is so strong it actually catches your hair, blowing it wildly across your face. Now, normally, our human instinct tells us to hunch our shoulders and hide from the wind, right? But today, you aren't hiding from it. You're smiling. You are actively enjoying the cool wind against your skin. The tone has entirely shifted from that sleepy, cozy bedroom to a feeling of being completely wide awake and deeply connected to the wildness of the environment.
Now, just to be super clear, let's define the specific weather condition we're talking about here. We are definitely not talking about a hazardous, lightning-filled thunderstorm. We're looking at what you'd call a misty rain, a light, cool drizzle. And this kind of rain actually enhances the morning experience in some pretty fascinating ways. There's real science behind this, too. You know that incredibly fresh scent you smell when it rains? It's called petrichor. It's produced by soil bacteria, and it is practically hardwired into our brains to be uplifting. Plus, the light, cold exposure from the mist triggers a natural dopamine release. So instead of making things dreary, this light drizzle actually makes the vibrant green fields look incredibly alive and beautiful. It transforms the landscape into something fresh. And that physiological vibrancy is exactly what we're going to transfer right into our own bodies. Which brings us to the core of this whole thing, the 3-step rainy routine: walk, run, and balance. Let's break down these physical habits. Here is your 3-step blueprint for a rainy morning. First, brisk walking to warm up the joints and acclimate to the temperature. Second, running through the wind to reach peak cardiovascular intensity. And third, yoga for balance to cool down and center the mind. This structure is highly intentional. Actually, it's more like a perfect bell curve for your nervous system. It takes you from a really gentle awakening right up to a high-energy peak, and then carefully brings you back down to a state of grounded, hyper-focused calm. So let's look at each step.
Step 1 is brisk walking. As you move across the vibrant green grass, the field just looks so bright from the fresh rain. Drops of water are literally flying off the grass blades with every single step you take. And yeah, for sure, you have to push past that initial shock of a wet shoe, because the great betrayal of a wet sock is very real. But once you do, it becomes so exhilarating. You're setting a warm, brisk pace. That cool, moist air acts like a natural caffeine hit, totally opening up your airways. You're waking up your muscles without shocking your system, while the negative ions in the rainy air actually help boost your mood and your oxygen flow.
Then you shift gears. Step 2, running through the wind. You dash across the open field, laughing, leaning into the elements as your hair flies straight back in the wind. Sprinting against that cool breeze forces your heart to work significantly harder. The wind basically acts as an invisible weight vest. It builds physical strength, keeps the heart pumping strong, and utilizes the raw resistance of the weather to give you a vastly superior workout than you'd ever get on a totally calm, dry day on a treadmill indoors. You are generating an absolutely incredible endorphin rush simply by matching the intensity of the weather around you. After that high-intensity sprint, you shift gears one last time. Step 3 is yoga for balance. You find a flat patch of wet grass, and you settle right into a steady tree pose, balancing carefully on one leg, with your hands pressed together at your center. You look completely peaceful while the breeze just continues to dance gently around you. And the contrast here is massive. You've gone from the explosive, wild energy of sprinting directly into a grounded, calm, and steady physical state. Your breathing slows down, perfectly matching the rhythm of the gentle drizzle. Because balancing in the wind, yeah, that isn't just a physical challenge. It is a profound mental one. When the wind is pushing against your body, your core has to work double time just to keep you upright. It trains your physical body to stay strong and flexible, but honestly, more importantly, it trains your mind to remain calm when the world around you is literally moving and chaotic. Think about how that translates to your daily life. When a stressful email hits your inbox, or a project goes totally off the rails at work, your nervous system remembers this exact feeling. It remembers how to find absolute stillness right amidst the storm.
Okay, let's look at the payoff in our final section, ready for the day and the unstoppable mindset. Just picture the immediate aftermath of this workout. Your hair is wonderfully messy from the wind, just glistening with tiny raindrops. Your skin is flushed, your heart rate is steady, and you take one last incredibly deep breath of that rain-washed air. You just give a big thumbs up to the morning. You didn't just survive the elements, you conquered them. You took a morning that normally makes people feel groggy and unmotivated, and you used it as literal rocket fuel for your physical fitness. Because this physical exertion directly sparks a really profound internal transformation. The brisk walking, the sprinting, the balancing, they all culminate in a razor-sharp mind and a highly activated, strong body. And when those two elements are aligned together, it equals total readiness for an amazing summer day. You have entirely cleared away any of that lingering sleepiness or negativity. I mean, just compare this focused, unstoppable energy to the sluggish fog you'd be in if you had stayed in bed for that extra hour. It is a night and day difference. Which actually brings us full circle, right back to the beginning. Healthy, wealthy, wise. By consciously choosing to rise early, pushing through that cool, misty rain, and engaging in this structured fitness routine, you have successfully rewritten the script. You've built health through walking, running, and yoga. You've gained a massive wealth of energy and absolute focus. And most importantly, you've found the wisdom to look at an obstacle like a dark, rainy morning and turn it into your absolute greatest advantage.
Because at the end of the day, the environment doesn't dictate your energy. You do. Your choices do. So I want you to think about this tomorrow at 6 a.m. When that alarm goes off and you hear that familiar tapping of rain hitting the glass, you have a decision to make. Are you going to surrender to the comfort of the snooze button and the heavy covers, or will you choose to step out into the breeze, lean into the elements, and become completely unstoppable? So how will you face your next rainy morning?